In today's video, we sit down with Chris Bagnell, who started crypto mining at the age of 17, and now years later is heavily invested in the Depin space. We talk about how he got into crypto mining, how he actually jumped into Depin, his thoughts on the current state of Depin, and some of the projects that are currently wronging the community. In addition, we talk about some of our favorite picks talking about Depin, ones that we highly recommend that you get into. This is one you don't want to miss. Let's jump in. All right, how's it going, Chris?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing awesome. So we're here with Chris Bagnell, and if you guys aren't familiar with him, I'm going to leave links to his YouTube channel down below. He is a big name in the Depin space, up and coming YouTuber. So Chris, I appreciate you joining me today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So I think you and I, first time I actually got a chance to meet you was at Mining Disrupt
Yes.
this past year. And this video isn't about Mining Disrupt, but what were your thoughts? Was that your first mining event?
Honestly, yeah, that was my first crypto conference, first time traveling alone, first time meeting anybody in the crypto space. There was a lot of firsts. It was very fun.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah. Are you going to the Dallas one coming up?
I think my budget is maxed out for 2025 because I went to Bitcoin 2025 and that definitely took a hit. Yeah.
Totally get you. Totally get you. Okay, cool. So now that we've gotten that part aside and chatted about that, so let's talk more Depin.
Sure.
And I love for my audience to understand just when and how did you step into crypto mining at like a 50,000 foot level?
Yeah, so I first got into crypto mining when I was 17 in 2017. So if you ever want to know how old I am, just look at the year. It's a little fun fact. But yeah, I got into mining Zcash. I talked to my dad about it. I bought two 1070 Ti Founder editions, and I started mining Zcash and a little bit of Bitcoin. God, I wish I mined Bitcoin the whole time, but I stuck with Zcash because it was super high valued. And then I was kind of in and out of just buying and selling with what little money I had. Didn't even think about a YouTube channel. And then I saw, I took a little bit of a break, and then I saw about in 2020, 2021, when the crypto market started to take off again, I started to get more interested in it. And then I was in college at this point, so I had a little bit more knowledge. And I saw a lot of people making videos on Helium. I think your friend Andy and a couple others were making, and this is before I even knew who they were. And now I guess I can call them my friends. But they were making some videos on Helium. I thought this was really interesting. It was really interesting for me as a broke college student. I always thought I would never be able to get into crypto mining just because the price entry was too high for GPUs and ASICs and stuff like that. So when I saw Depin, I was super excited, and Helium specifically. So I started making some videos on Helium. They started blowing up. I had some people that invited me to a Discord server based off of device that ended up not actually being manufactured. It was a Nebra or a Syncrobit. So there was issues with that. And they told me to make a video telling people basically to cancel their orders. So I made a video on that. That video blew up. It got, I think, like 10,000 views or something like that at the time. And then it just became a constant cycle of I was making some videos talking about other stuff, but anytime I made a Helium video, it got thousands of views. And I was like, well, it looks like people are interested in Depin. And it was really interesting to me because I could now talk to people my age about it and they would understand it, not only because it makes sense, but also because it was really low cost to get into. So I was able to get a lot of people that were in college into it versus trying to convince someone to buy a $10,000 ASIC is very difficult when you're 20 years old. So that's kind of where I started. And then it has definitely transitioned over the years. I guess that was 2021. We're in 2025 now, so things have definitely changed. Now Depin is just taken off. There's so many different projects. They have their own name on CoinMarketCap, their own category. Like,
Yeah,
come
it's
a long
great.
way. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. No, I appreciate that. It's so interesting to hear that like where you started so young, which is amazing to think about, of just like even just an inkling of it then, and then kind of that's helped to influence things as time has gone on. So jumping ahead till now, educate my audience on what Depin projects you're into currently
Ooh.
right now, which ones you operating. Special thanks to today's video sponsor, Crypto Miner Bros. Crypto Miner Bros has been one of the top ASIC resellers in the industry since 2018, specializing in crypto mining hardware for not just professionals, but also home mining enthusiasts. Some of my favorite professional ASICs include the Bitmain Antminer L9 Dogecoin miner and the brand new Bitmain Antminer S21XP Bitcoin miner. For home miners, I love the new Voltminer D1 Mini, the AlphaPex DG Home 1, the iPolo V2X Ethereum Classic miner, and finally, the Canaan Avalon Nano 3S Solo Bitcoin miner. Crypto Miner Bros makes the checkout process easy for new miners looking to make their first purchase by not only accepting wire transfers, but also some of the more popular cryptocurrencies as a form of payment, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin, and USDT. Save an additional $70 per ASIC miner with special checkout discount code, The Hobbyist Miner. Need a safe, reliable, and trusted reseller to purchase your next ASIC miner from? Look no further than CryptoMinerBros.com.
Yeah, so I actually do a monthly earnings video talking about all the projects that I participate in and the rewards that I get. It's been pretty bad the past couple of months, and I've actually made some videos talking about why I think we're kind of at the bottom, not financial advice, but kind of at the bottom with altcoins, and altcoins is everything but Bitcoin, because all the focus is on Bitcoin. Like, as we're recording this, Bitcoin just hit another all-time high, and
yeah, 112. Exciting.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm very interested in the technology behind it. But the projects just off the top of my head that I can think of that I'm a part of: Geodnet, Aether, Helium, and Helium. I'm part of Helium Mobile, which is now the Helium token. So the Helium indoor hotspot, the Helium phone, and then the OG Helium IoT devices. I participate in all of them because I'm triple dipping on earnings, and those do really well. And I'm trying to think of some other ones. HIVEMAPPER, DIMO. I'm wearing the DIMO shirt. How could I forget about them?
That.
Yeah,
I had that same one on before this, but changed. So I'm really glad I did.
That would have been funny. Yeah, there's so many. Grass. I'm looking at the list on CoinMarketCap just because there's a ton that I am a part of, and it has changed over the years. There's been some that I've turned off. I've turned off my XNet device, not because I think it's a bad project, but just because it doesn't generate enough revenue to even be worth the hassle. I think I make like one XNet a month. So devices like that, for you guys that don't know, like XNet and Helium Mobile, there's a couple other, they basically offload cellular data. And if you don't have them in a good business spot, it's really just a paperweight. So the Helium Mobile device in the same location is doing great. So it really is situational. But yeah, that's a couple of the projects off the top of my head.
No, that's great. That's good. So we're going to jump into the state of Depin here in just a second. But last question I had for you there was, which Depin project has been your biggest win financially, and which one has been your biggest L of like, all right, I bought it, didn't work out, here's why. So give it to us.
All right. Well, okay. So HIVEMAPPER was fantastic. Helium, I'm getting too excited. Let me do one project at a time.
I heard it was there. So okay.
Yeah, HIVEMAPPER was the most profitable project the most profitable project by far since Helium. So it had a lot of people super excited. Right now, the token is not doing very well, but the project is posting a lot of really good partnerships. Like yesterday, they just announced they have a partnership with a subsidiary of VW, Volkswagen. So they also have a partnership with Lyft, the driving platform. So they are posting a lot of companies that are using their data, and the token price is just not reacting. And we'll talk about that further. But HIVEMAPPER, with the affiliate sales, I was almost able to pay off all of my student loans with one payment. But the catch was that the tokens were locked until the devices were actually sent out to people. So then they canceled the original HIVEMAPPER and switched to the B, and now it's a year and a half later. Devices are finally starting to ship out. So the tokens are starting to trickle back into my wallet because they were holding them for so long. But the token at that point was at 40 cents, and now it's at 1 cent. So I It's
So
nowhere close.
I can't tell if this is a W or an L. It sounds like it's a little bit of both.
So at the time, it was like, oh my God, this is incredible.
Yep.
But it ended up being, it ended up kind of being a dud. Honestly, I can't believe I'm saying it, but I think Helium might have been my all time because I hit it big with the IoT devices back when that was all that Helium was making about like $20 to $40 a day on the Helium device. And then they decided to switch to mobile and IoT and stuff. I ended up buying I bought a Freedom Phi 5G cell. I had a bunch of other 5G cells. Instead of actually using them, like I bought rack miners, I would then sell them on eBay because the prices were ridiculous. So I bought a ton of miners and I was flipping them left and right. And then when Helium switched back to the H&T token from the three when they did the split, it's been incredible. I've had devices that have been offline for like 2 years that all of a sudden are earning again, and that has been a really profitable project. It's been earning me consistently like $40 to $60 a month, and these devices I've had for many years now. So it's definitely paid itself off many times over.
That's awesome. It sounds like you very much like Helium's kind of been your bread and butter through and through.
Yeah, definitely.
And has done very well for you, which I get it. Helium was my first introduction. The original Helium IoT miner, my gold spot miner, is actually still running. I have an 8 dB antenna out on the peak of my roof. And I actually had a lot of new people joining my YouTube channel as I started to get into Helium. And that was back when like they would release and there'd be a massive rush to grab them. And like you could only buy 2 at a time. And like I actually got mine from DJ Mines. Him and I were chatting about trying to get one. All of a sudden we got word there was a drop. He was able to buy 2. He bought one. I paid him back. It was a huge win for me. For him, it was a dud, but for me, it worked out really, really well. And that got me into going from there into Helium Mobile. I did the whole Freedom Phi, and also with the buy sells unit. I actually have my replacement. That I actually did the replacement program. I don't know. Did you do the replacement program with your unit as well?
No, I actually had the Freedom Phi for an unboxing and then I sold it.
Okay.
I had it very briefly. Yeah.
Okay. So I put mine up with my Freedom Phi and my buy cells, like on the peak of my roof, like it's 40 feet up. And before that, I actually had bought a unit down in Florida through Moken. Are you familiar with Moken.io?
Yes.
Yeah. So, bought a unit early, way before that, like a year before I even bought the unit here. And Helium Mobile is still my biggest win, as well as with funny HIVEMAPPER with Honey. I sold both of them on the exact same day. It was in December of 24, which was the all-time high for both of them, and sold both of them 50%. And that's actually what kickstarted my ASIC journey. I sold both into Solana. And then that same week, Solana was pumping, sold 50% of my Solana, and I bought my first fleet of ASIC miners with all of that.
Awesome.
Like all on the same day. Sold, buy that. So, but those are, as I would imagine you would agree, those are rare situations where like, you take advantage of something at the all-time high. I didn't know it was an all-time high. I was like, it's pumping. I'm going to take advantage of it. And I only knew what I knew in that moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And when HIVEMAPPER actually got listed on Coinbase for their, I forget the way Coinbase does it, but it was reaching $1 trading and it was insane. I was looking at the amount of honey that I was projected to get. So something like 90,000 honey. I'm transparent with the earnings that I have with these projects. And it would have been $90,000. I'm like, oh my God. Like the main goal with all of this is to have passive income. I mean, that's why I make all these videos. And I was looking at that. It's like, I can buy so many ASICs and flip that and just have passive income forever. I have taken a little bit of a different route, but I'm starting to get into the ASIC game myself, which it's fun. That a boy.
Love to hear it. So let's pivot over a little bit to like the state of Depin right now. We'll talk about kind of our overall feeling of things right now. And then there's a few projects I love to connect with you on. So right now, as an avid Depin miner, give us your thoughts. What is the state of the current Depin market right now for home mining?
Yeah, it's funny actually when you reached out to me to make this. Is this a podcast? What is?
It's going to be a video on my channel, and I'm actually in the process of launching a podcast where these types of videos will be on audio format on all major podcast platforms as well.
Oh,
So
very
both.
nice.
It'll be on both.
Awesome. Yeah. So I actually, when you reached out to me to make this, I ended up making a video. You inspired me to make a video on the current state of Depin, and it was like a 10-minute video, kind of me ranting because I was driving. I think there was a cop behind me, so I had to like pause mid video. But I am very hopeful for Depin, and the nice thing about me monitoring my earnings every month and making a video on it is it keeps me in check. It reminds me to continue to make these videos, but it also allows me to go back and look at the month over month difference. And I've just seen consistently since like January that Depin projects have been in the red. It's been month after month of like negative 20% on their token prices. And token price, obviously, that's not the main thing behind the project. Like the project itself, what they're actually aiming to solve is what we should be focused on. But this money rules the world, and that's the way it is. So I definitely have been disappointed, and I know a lot of other people are disappointed in the sentiment right now in my Discord server, and a lot of people reaching out and commenting on videos is they're like, I'm done. And I'm even seeing YouTubers destroying crypto miners.
Tech hustler, come on.
Yeah,
we say it how it is over here.
Yeah,
We're calling you out, Will. We're calling you out.
I'm seeing them destroy crypto miners, and that's like he is describing exactly how a lot of people are feeling right now, and rightfully so. I totally get it. But one of the points I brought up in my video was that we were in a similar place when there was just one project a couple years ago, Helium, when Helium went from its all-time high to around, I think it was like all the way down to like $2 a token. It went really, really low. It was on the top 100, and then it just kind of disappeared. And it was, I'm seeing the similarities now where everyone was like, I'm done. And this is exactly when Helium Mobile launched with their 5G cells and everything. And if people that I know got in on it early, they made hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's like no joke. They made a ton of money just because they got in at the absolute bottom. And I'm seeing everybody now, what seems to be at the absolute bottom, selling their tokens and converting them into Bitcoin, which is at its all-time high. I'm like, guys, what are we doing here? This is like goes against what we're supposed to be doing. It's a lot of fear. Yeah.
It's a lot of fear there for sure.
Yeah, and I get it. And there's definitely been a lot of projects. I mean, I've even covered projects. I don't know if you have in the past, but there's been projects that I've covered that have turned out to be complete duds. And in the moment, like you're excited about the project, you want to push it. They reach out to you to give you free tech, maybe give you a little money to make a video. You're like, absolutely. You look into it. It all looks promising, but they just don't hit the marks. Something falls short, or the team somewhere down the line gets greedy. They decide they actually want to just start taking their token unlocks and selling it all and deflating the token. And that's something you can't really predict. You just have to guess. you have to see which project is good. DIMO is a good example. They actually pushed off their token unlocks, but DIMO had competition with SoarChain, which is another device that, for you guys that don't know what DIMO is, it's a device that plugs into your car and it provides that data to insurance companies and whatnot.
Oh, we'll talk about DIMO here in a minute. Don't you worry. That'll be fun.
But yeah, that was a really exciting project. And then SoarChain came along, and it was, I mean, I was like, what is the difference here? So there's projects like that where it just seems like it's just cash grab. And I'm not saying SoarChain is. I don't want to talk bad upon any projects, but there's definitely been projects. I will talk bad about one project if you want.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Not quite yet. Not quite yet. But it's jumping ahead, which I love.
Yeah. I'm getting too excited. I want to talk about everything. So I'm not sure. Did I answer that question?
No, absolutely perfect. No, I think it's really, really good. I mean, I think, so to give people context, if they're new to my channel or they're coming over from your community or other Depin communities, I have my list here. I'm into DIMO, Geodnet, WeatherXM, Nubula, Marco Miner, SolarX, Aether Edge, Deep Miner, Anyone Relay, SkyX, Wingbits, and Star Power. So, number of units that I'm into at this time, just to give some people some idea. And you might be like, holy cow, that's a lot of units. And it absolutely is. My mentality getting into Depin has always been, I want to find the Depin projects that are in Testnet. Like, and a lot of people, that's like, oh, I don't want to touch it yet. And I'm like, I want to touch it. Like, please give it to me. Like, because of the fact for me, I want to get in during Testnet before it goes to mainnet to accumulate tokens, because traditionally there's some type of pathway between testnet tokens and mainnet tokens, whether it's 1-to-1 or whether it's some type of percentage. And just like, yeah, there you go. Just like Chris had said, getting in as early as possible. Like, and for some people, it's like, yeah, but it's not profitable. It's like, that's okay, because traditionally, as Chris had said too, it is a low barrier to entry when it comes down to cost and watts. Like, most of these miners are under $500. That is an absolute gamble. Most of you go to a casino and spend more than that in a year. So it's like, okay, that's where my mindset has always been with Depin. So for me, going back to where your sentiment was and mindset is with Depin right now, everything's down right now. All altcoins are down. It's not just Depin. And so people that are looking at Depin right now and it's calling out Tech Hustler of like breaking units, whatever. It's like, what are you doing? Like, if interest is low, that means your yields could be higher depending on the project. And it's like, just honestly, Depin projects for me are set them and forget them. I am so diversified into other things like ASICs or other projects where like Depin, the value of Depin is traditionally you set them and forget them. You don't even look at them. Like my original Helium IoT miner has been up for years now. I never check it. It is always online. It's always doing great. Like, that's the nice thing. So with people that are getting upset, this is not focused on Depin to be like, oh my gosh, Depin tokens and crypto is down. It's actually things across the board. And you're correct looking at January. Some people actually talk about the fact of like, we may already have had an altcoin season that was between November and January. If you look at a lot of major projects, they had a nice pump there, looking at that. And so it's like, like, was that our new altcoin season? Is this the new norm? 4 months and we're done? So I think it's across the board overall. My personal feeling with Depin is keep getting into them. I continue to have my ear to the ground on new projects and like what is in testnet. But I do like what you said on like, I don't want to call them copycats, but there's an oversaturation right now in the Depin industry of products that seem to be doing the same thing. The biggest one I find is environmental data. Like, and I got several of those. I have a what is it? Weather XM. I got a Nubula Marco miner, and I have a SkyX. It's like all three of these are doing something very, very similar with solar panels, which I think is awesome. I love that. Us miners love to see that, but a lot of them are focused on ESG data, and it's like there's a lot of other companies with like smart plugs doing the same thing. So I would love to see, now is the great time to be able to see real world application for a lot of these projects that seem to be duplicates of other projects.
Yeah, I wanted to add also, because your
Please.
channel is more focused on GPU mining as far as I remember, and ASIC mining, and like
Used to be more ASICs now, but yeah.
But I remember watching your videos on GPU mining and Red Panda and all the other guys, and they're picking random speculative coins. So what's the difference? I mean, the only difference being is that you already have those GPUs, so it's much easier. Some of these projects reutilize old hardware. Like, the nice thing about the Helium miners is they use Raspberry Pis. You can actually flash a software or a project called Crank on them, and you can run like 16 different projects all on the Raspberry Pi now, including Helium, including Crank. You can do now like Grass, Wingbits. There's so many that you can add to it. And it's incredible to be able to reuse hardware. I really like that aspect of this.
Yeah, I think what is setting a lot of Depin projects apart for me right now is real world application. And like you had mentioned, like Wingbits, great example.
Yeah.
Is the fact of like the basic form tracking airplanes, tracking aircraft. And like that is something that I can talk to my parents and they fully understand how that works. Oh, it's an antenna that you're running and it's detecting aircraft and you're getting, rewarded for that. And like, oh, they can see the real world value of that, especially with our current system that we have tracking aircrafts being so bad. It's like, oh, something new and different. Like that would be fantastic. Like reselling that to sites or whatever totally makes sense. I think the challenge is some of these Depin projects, like they're so far away from real world application. And you're like, okay, well, like who are the customers, and like what I love to see, I forget who it was it Helium the other day, that Helium Mobile that announced, was it AT&T? Or maybe there was somebody else that announced like an AT&T partnership or something like that as well.
Yeah, Helium Mobile's been with AT&T for a while.
Okay.
Or sorry,
I know, was that T-Mobile?
T-Mobile.
There's T-Mobile.
Yes.
Yep, correct. I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, people in the comments can correct me, but they made an announcement with AT&T as well to offload. And I was like, fantastic. Like, that is real world application.
Yeah.
Love to see it, So I think for me, that is where, when I start to look at more and more Depin projects, it's like, where's the real world application from the traditional industry, the tech industry, into crypto? And there needs to be a partnership. Like, a lot of these Depin projects, I feel, need to have a primary purpose first, and then a byproduct of that is earning crypto. It can't be the other way around, because they always seem to fail when that's the case. Cool. Well, let's go ahead, talk about a few projects. So, DIMO. Let's talk about DIMO. Okay. So
Awesome.
I want to give my thoughts real quick, and then I'd love for you to correct me and then to update me. Please do.
I don't read the docs like that. I don't know all the.
That's
all
right.
The
So DIMO was one of the best Depin projects that I've recommended for a while to people looking to step in. Easiest for adoptability, for beginners. You plug it in. The AutoPi is still in my wife's van right now, and I have the LTE R1. Awesome. Love to see it. More recently, for folks that didn't know, they announced a subscription model that was required. I think this is total crap, to be honest with you. And it's a changing of, I'd love to find out the true reasoning behind this. My guess is, and I'm guessing, I don't know more than anyone else, maybe you do know, if do, please do, is a lot of this is coming down to a change in identity. So DIMO being, okay, it was a piece of technology that rewarded you in crypto, is now turning into a business, for-profit business model, which I get, that's the way we need to go, but it's really going away from the grassroots of you spend the money for the product, you earn the crypto, and now it's like, oh no, you have to spend money too. I just think there's some board somewhere that made this decision, and honestly, I think it's going to fail the project. I think the project will fail because of this. What are your thoughts? Tell me, correct me, please. Hey everyone, quick announcement that I'm pumped to share with you. I've officially teamed up with the Mining Disrupt crew to help spread the word about one of the biggest crypto mining events of the year. Mining Disrupt 2025 is coming up fast, and this time it's happening in Dallas, Texas. I've personally attended the last 3 years, and I can tell you from experience, if you're serious about mining, this event delivers. Whether you're a home miner just getting started, managing a mid-sized farm, or running a full-scale hosting operation, Mining Disrupt brings the community together under one roof. Expect major hardware launches, inspiring talks from industry leaders, opportunities to meet fellow miners, connect with content creators, and brand new this year, a mining farm tour. Tickets are available right now, and use the code HobbyistMiner at checkout for 20% off. Just click the link in the video description or scan the QR code on the screen right now. Listen, I'll be there, and I'd love to see you too. Let's make it a week to remember. Mining Disrupt 2025. Here we come.
Yeah, so actually, I was on an X Base with Depin Connection and a few others. He's really knowledgeable on this. He's been doing a lot of spaces with the CEOs and interviews with a lot of Depin CEOs. So I definitely check him out for like some of the more detailed stuff, because he does research like it's his full-time job. Like I wish I could do that. But I did make some videos on the Depin, or on the DIMO. It's tricky. The DIMO price subscription model. And I've been covering DIMO since it was a proof of concept. I was like one of the very first people to cover DIMO. So I've been following it for I think 2-3 years now. And I've watched it grow from like this little baby to like this giant in the crypto space. And I was a little frustrated with the fact that they announced this subscription plan as well as everyone else was, but I think they definitely announced it wrong, and they made some corrections, and I don't think a lot of people know about the corrections, but they initially just said, we're announcing a subscription plan, this is what's happening, and everyone's like, are you kidding me? But then they came out with some clarification and said that for people that already have the devices, depending on which device you already have, I believe, from like anywhere from 2 years to 3 years still included in your current plan. And then if you buy the device currently, you get a reduced time frame, but you still get a large time frame of free usage, and I like that. But it's definitely going to deter people. And the reason that they had a space discussing their price points and why they decided to do this, the main reason, from what I understood, is that there are a ton of cars that are connected that aren't providing any useful data that DIMO is still paying out every single week. So a lot of the devices that have the macaroon, and my vehicles are subject to being, they don't provide any data. I know that for a fact. Like, nobody's going to buy a 2008 Toyota's data. Um, it's just not useful in any sense. But they have a lot of these devices, like the ones in my vehicle, that just don't provide data, and they want to get people that have devices that are plugged into newer cars that are able to connect to more features in the car. So a lot of the cars that have the ability to have an app, so like newer Jeeps, newer Chevrolets, newer Toy, pretty much any car from like 2016 and up that has the ability. Exactly. They want to be able to have you log into the app and then connect DIMO to that. And people aren't, they don't even know that was a thing. And I didn't know that I could actually do that. And it boosts the amount of earnings you get every week just for connecting to that app. I think they did a really poor job of marketing that. And DIMO has been phenomenal with their marketing up until that point. Like, I think they do such a good job with their graphics. Whoever's behind that, just, they do a great
Oh yeah,
job.
they look pretty good. Yeah, I would
Yeah.
say, in all honesty, I think they should have weighed out different approaches. So like, okay, some of these vehicles aren't, the data isn't in demand, but at the end of the day, they're still getting data. So that still makes their database very valuable when they're looking to resell that data.
Yeah.
I think the challenge there is that I look at is like, okay, but that you still want that data in some capacity. Like, and if that wasn't the case, then there's a few ways you could have went. Personally, if that was the case, they could have easily announced, hey, any from this year to back, the rewards will be cut in half because that data is not as valuable to us. And oh, think of like the Salad model, where like Salad is a AI rental service for people that don't know, where all of a sudden we have demand for these. Okay, so now that is worth more. So if they were like, all right, from 2020 on, you're rewarded at this tier, but anything back is this tier. That would have been a better avenue to go to incentivize people versus, hey, we're going to charge you a subscription fee because we're giving you too much demo. Like,
Yeah.
it just, it's like, yes, it's such a bad avenue to go for sure. And it definitely puts, like, honestly, where my mind goes is, does Demo end up going entirely away from their tokenomics? Like, based off of the news that they're making and the amount of people that are exiting because of this, is Demo going to be forced to abandon their roots, which is the tokenomics of their project, just because of this?
Yeah, the one thing about Demo that I've always praised in comparison to other projects is they do a really good job with their user interface. Like, if you didn't know it was a crypto project, you would not experience any sides of the blockchain. If you want to, like when you connect a device to your car, there's a little button in the top that allows you to view the transaction. But if you don't click that and you don't know that it's a crypto project, you don't interact with it at all. So it wouldn't hurt them if they wanted to, or it would, but it wouldn't be terrible if they decided to just get rid of the token altogether, because they already have a good interface. But I do think that the fundamentals of blockchain have kept this project going for so long, and that's obviously why so many people got into it in the first place. Now, a lot of people on X have been saying that the other going theory is that they are kind of getting pushed by some venture capitalists that want to see some revenue, and can't really do anything about that. I mean, that's you have to show up and make them happy, because they were the people that were funding the project in the beginning. I still think they can fix this. And one of the things they did announce, I'm not sure if it's approved yet because the subscription plan hasn't really taken into effect yet, but they're going to allow people to pay with the demo tokens, which is big because Helium Mobile has that for the mobile plan. And I use that to pay for, I just roll my rewards from all of the other Helium devices that I earn back into the phone plan. And then I use that phone plan just as extra data when I need it. So the right now, if they were to launch their subscription plan right now, I don't think it would do very well at all. I think the project would crash and burn. But I think they have to make some serious moves over the next couple of months to increase the value of their token in order to make it worth everyone's while. Because that at the core issue is that we're not earning enough to cover the cost of the subscription. Nobody would be talking if the subscription was $2 and you're making $50 a month on a device. Nobody would bother.
Exactly.
So it
Exactly.
is definitely a situational issue.
Yeah. No, I would agree. Another one I'd love to chat about a little bit here with the time we have remaining is let's talk about Ashlar. Are you familiar with Ashlar?
Yeah, I actually have the device and I have never gotten it set up. I just could
So
not get it set up.
I looked into the device, looked into the project a little bit, and decided it was a little bit too far-fetched meme coin style for me to get into as a more avid crypto miner.
Yeah.
Love to get your thoughts on it though, because for me uh it seemed like the biggest cash grab I've ever seen, but so many people bought these up. Am I missing something? Please let me know.
So in the beginning, they were using, I forget the name of the device, but Network Bits, he doesn't have a channel anymore, but he actually told me about this and he's like, you should run this. I think it just takes like an ESP32 board. So for all you nerds that know what that is, basically just a little board you can buy on Amazon. They're relatively cheap and you just load up the software. And the way that you actually are able to participate in the project is you have to dig a hole in backyard or whatever, put like a post-it note saying your Discord name or something, and then post that in Discord. And then
It
they
used
actually,
to be that way,
yes,
right? Not anymore.
yes.
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
they actually allowed you to start participating in this project. And I was reading into it a little bit, and it was, it was, it was funny how much it actually made sense compared to a lot of people just saying it's a straight meme coin. And the thing that really got me was that they in their tokenomics said like straight up like a lot of Depin projects are proof of concept and they never actually make it to the market. So we're going to do the same thing and we're not even going to try to make it to the market, but people are still going to become a part of it. And that's exactly what happened. And people just joined because they liked that they were just being honest. And there's been a ton of projects that I've been a part of that have just tanked because they just could not get anybody to buy their product. Like no, there was some projects I don't even remember the names of, but the idea behind them was just silly. It just was not sustainable. So then they released this Entropy Ashlar, which is a little device, and I think it is the same board that you could have bought on Amazon. Now you have to buy this device, and now you have to buy an NFT, and now it's starting to seem like it's becoming a cash grab. So I share the same sentiment on that. I definitely think that they're getting a little greedy, but if you say anything about it, they will like just come at you. I saw Tech Hustler post something on X and they started going all after him.
Well, I'll say I think it's the stupidest thing. Like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole because I was like, hey, so you buy this unit, then you get this, you got to do the whole NFT thing, and then okay, what? As I talked about at the very top of this, what problem is it solving? What's our primary purpose, and then what's the byproduct of it to make it a legitimate DPIM project? And everybody I spoke to was like, oh, it's not really doing anything. You're just earning a meme coin. I'm like, all right, are we mining something? Is it proof of participation? Is it proof of coverage? And it's like, nope, nope, nope,
Proof
and
of
nope.
meme.
And I'm like, it checks no boxes. What are you doing? And it's pretty much, you might as well, a lot of people that I found that were interested in this were interested in meme coins and a quick cash grab and out. And I think personally, I think that's the people behind this as well. It's like, it's not saving the world in any way, is it?
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. Everyone makes their money their own ways, and I have no issue with that. But I definitely do not like the cult mentality that meme coins have. And this isn't the first project that kind of mock Depins that was a meme that I was interacting with, and the other one I don't even want to give it attention. I don't even know if it's around anymore, but they came at me like crazy because I said I asked I was like, I will take $1,000 to make a video on this project because I know how much money this project is making, and I don't really want to make a video on this. So instead, they like took my private chat and they posted it in their server, and then my YouTube channel just got flooded. And looking back on it, like I'm glad I didn't make a video on the project, but yeah, meme projects, they deserve to be in the past with NFTs until they find their place, because there are good meme projects like Dogecoin. It's been around for a while. It's a mineable coin. It is an awesome mineable coin, and I'm actively mining it. But some of the projects just need to hush up until they
I
figure
get
it
you.
out. Yeah,
I get you. All right, so we're gonna leave things off on one last question here,
awesome.
flipping the script a little bit from more of the negative kind of side of things to more positive. So you have to pick one Depin project. What is it going to be? What would you recommend to people if you had to pick one for your community or my community to look deeper into? What would it be?
It depends on which week you ask me. Like last week,
Nothing to do with profitability here. We're just talking straight
oh,
project.
I would say probably helium, because there's three different avenues you can take. You can get the Helium Mobile plan, which you earn just for walking distance. They give you helium tokens each day, and then the Helium 5G devices, which you can put in businesses, and they generate, you basically can break even in a month on those devices if you get them in a high traffic area. And then finally the IoT devices, which are, I mean, that's what my channel is basically founded off of, where you can put these antennas. You don't even have to put them on your roof anymore. You can just put them in your attic, and it does a good enough job. A lot, I'm seeing a lot of projects with, since the profitability is down, people aren't putting nearly as much effort into them as they were, which is definitely affecting earnings for people. And you can, what I like about H&T and the Helium project and a lot of these antenna projects is it is up to you at the end of the day how much you earn, because you have to find an optimal setup, and that just, it really depends on how much work you actually want to put into it. I don't know what my cat's doing right now, but
That's all right.
yeah.
It's good. It's entertainment in the background.
Yeah,
All good. No, I do think that's a really good point where, like, as people start to look into these things, the extra step, especially when it comes down to proof of coverage, is looking at, where is the do that research ahead of time, where the optimal place is. And if it's not at your house, if you do decide to get into this, find a business nearby you can partner with and
exactly.
install it in or something like that. I think that's a good avenue to go versus just buying it and then being upset because you're, like you had talked about, you were earning 1x net. It was like, okay, like not the most ideal situation.
Yeah, and I could definitely end up selling that XNet to another person who would get far greater use out of it. So I would rather do that. And it's, again, nothing against the project. It just doesn't work for me. And I think that's the big thing with Dpin in comparison to traditional GPU and ASIC mining, is you can do that pretty much anywhere. Even if you have a ASIC or a GPUs and your electricity rate is high, you can host it somewhere, Terra hosting. But but for these Deepin projects, a lot of people, they just don't want to get involved because it's not an optimal location, and that is a big deal. And the other thing you have to worry about is if you're going to put it at another person's location, you got to figure out the revenue split you're going to do with them, and that's a whole nother topic, for hosting and being a fleet manager, and it's different for every single project, but it can become a real problem with some of these projects. I know some of my friends that have hosted with other people, and they have moved, or they have
Oh, okay.
sold
Yeah,
their
yeah.
car with the DIMO device in it, and that
Yep.
device is gone. So
Yep. Oh
there's,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, definitely a challenge there. Yeah, I would say the one that I am most interested in, at least right now, as you had talked about, like, hey, it depends on the day, but I am really looking at, with a lot of these deep in projects, on like real world application, and what application is it applying to that needs to be updated, that needs new technology. And so the Wingbits one is definitely on my radar the most right now. One, I think it's just the coolest. My kids and I like checking it out and tracking the airplanes and seeing what's going on, because when we look at a lot of this, it's what applies to a lot of us, and with radar being so outdated, with the way that technology is, to be like, oh wow, here is a great avenue to offload that in a Depin avenue where people like you and I can be a provider for that actual service. So I would love to see the direction that goes. I think it has a lot of opportunity. Do I think the FAA is going to go ahead and pick this up? No, like, because we know that they're going to want to do things themselves. However, I think there's a lot of avenues to go with sites that are designed better to provide a lot of this data in real time, being able to integrate into, a lot of these airlines and such. I think there's a lot of really great avenues to go where I think we don't have a good substitute when I look at like DIMO and they're pulling all this car data. But if all the cars are getting smarter, they're going to start pulling their own data. So why would Ford need this if their car, versus when we look at like Wingbits, it's like, okay, that live tracking data, the only way they're doing that is updating the entire radar system that is operated on. And that's going to be massive. So that's kind of my thoughts. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. And also I like the Geodnet Wingbits collaboration device.
Smart. Yep.
Geodnet is a very, very good project. I probably should have picked that one for the best one. It's tough. It really does depend on the week, because for a lot of people it is driven by how much money they make that month. And the Helium device, just month over month, has been consistently outperforming any other project I have. It's just chugging along. And the Geodnet device, I've had some issues, nothing to do with Geodnet. I actually bought it from a company that went bankrupt that I was hosting with. So I had to like reach out and get my device fully unlocked, which was definitely interesting. But the Geodnet, I mean, they have real world use case. They are improving GPS reception, and I see it every single day. I work in New York City. I see how bad the GPS is. And if they can get this continuing to grow, this project is going to be very, very large. Like, they already are. They're really, really good, and I'm really excited to see. And they just released their GeoPulse, which is a device that goes in the car that helps improve GPS location on the go versus the stable device that is mounted on your roof. And I just really like the direction they're headed.
Yeah, I think with those not familiar with GeoPulse, I agree with you. I have two of those devices. I think the RTK network is definitely has somewhere to go. I love to see them partner with some larger companies to make this even more valuable and that data even more valuable. Like, when I think about it, it's like, okay, how do we get that built in with something like Uber, where
Yeah.
like, Uber, like getting it down, like, because those not familiar, GPS, get you within several feet of where you need to be,
6 feet.
right? And that
Yeah.
general vicinity GPS usually does, come on, we've all used GPS in our cars. It kind of gets us there. Versus with Geodnet and the RTK network, it's supposed to get within centimeters. So it's like, man, great. Here's a real world application. How do you go ahead and resell a lot of this network to somebody like Uber that comes down to how close they are to the person, especially like yourself? You're in New York City. So like in the general vicinity isn't going to help. You need to be like on top of that person.
Absolutely.
And the same thing applies with a lot of other things, like with Amazon and delivery packages and, all that stuff. So it's like, man, this is one of those situations where real world application with a major Fortune 500 company is what is going to set these companies apart. Like, all right, you got the technology. How do you get it now partnered up with a Fortune 500 company to improve their product? Not reinvent their product, but improve their product.
Yeah, we're continuing to see that. I mean, a lot of this stuff is announced on X. X is like the place to find out about the latest crypto news. And I'm seeing every single day projects posting about a new partnership or new sales. Like Helium Mobile has showed their chart for the amount of signups over the past couple of months, and it is unlike any chart I've ever seen. It's alarming how many people are signing up so fast. They bought subway ads in New York City, so every subway in New York is just Helium ads, and I posted a photo on that. And it's just so cool to see how far we've come. And I'm like looking at this and like, I was a part of this. Like, I helped bring this, I helped cover this project, and it's very cool to be able to say that I was a part of it.
Mm-hmm. So, Chris, we're going to wrap things up there. I'd love for my community to find you and to follow, subscribe you. So where can they find more Chris? Where can they find more Depin?
Yeah, so I have a YouTube channel at Chris Bagnell. I also have a website, blockchainbay.cc. I'm trying to continue to build that out, but I want that to be your all-in-one place for crypto, everything. So you can learn about crypto, you can find crypto halvings, but my bread and butter, well, there's two bread and butters, I guess. The first one being the crypto directory, which I go through every single project, and it's not just Depin projects, it's ASIC hosting, it's trusted news sites, it's everything you can need, trusted tax software, which is really important. And I put them all with a full breakout of the description of the project, a YouTube video if I've made a YouTube video on it, and then all the links you need to actually get involved with those projects, as well as if there is a project like DIMO or Helium, anything that has data, you can see all that data on my website. The other being the shop that I have, which allows you to buy any crypto miner that is available for a discount. It applies my discount codes and it will give you the best deal automatically. So you don't have to remember any discount codes. So I'm pretty happy about that. I've been working on that for quite some time. Cost a little bit of money to get that going. Could have bought an ASIC with that, but
That's right.
it's all good. And then also on X, I think I have to change my X name because the little underscore in the middle, it's starting to bother me a little bit. I gotta do like Chris Bagnell X, so maybe I'll do that.
There you go.
But the link will be in the description. I'm sure.
Chris Bagnell. You know,
That'd
there
be
you
perfect.
go. That's the way you
Yeah.
go. Cool. Well, guys, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave links to all of that down below so you don't need to try to rewind or go back or take a look at anything. So please go over and check out Chris's website as well as him on YouTube and on Twitter or X if you're a new gen here. Anyways, guys, that's going to wrap things up for today. For myself and Chris, thank you guys very much for joining us. We'll see you guys next time. Take care.